Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Elephant Exposed. I am your host, CJ Jones, or Mr. TNTBS. I know it's been a while since we've actually done a reaction to anything here recently, and I want to apologize for that. Been going through some very uh, just life been life. How about that? Okay, and so sometimes we need to break away sometimes to handle those things in life and then come right back at it. So thank you for hanging around. Thank you for sticking with me. I do have something that I do want to share. And since this is a election year, I want to start this particular clip of talking about uh, perspectives, political perspectives, and how it affects us about the decisions that we make and who we relate to and why we relate to them and different things like this. And I find myself, I always considered myself politically standing as someone that did not lean to the left or to the right, like to either extreme. To me, they both had their good points and they definitely have their bad points. Um, well, I say bad, but um, um, weaker points. And so whenever you find yourself like right there in the center of things. And so let's just get right into it. And I'll just go ahead and just share my thoughts as they come about. But let's just go ahead and get it right into it, okay? And so this is coming off of I want to say the platform of Midas. And let's hear what this young man has to say.
What's up, everyone? Coach D speaks with the Midas Touch Network. So I want you guys to watch this video of this Black conservative and Donald Trump advisor talk about how hard it is for him to be a Black conservative, go into the Black community, and continually have to defend conservatives like Charlie Kirk's racism. And then I want to tell you the story of how I used to consider myself a Black conservative and exactly why I left that ideology.
It's hard enough to be a Black conservative, and we have to live in the Black community, work in the Black community, our family, our friends, our neighbors, our parishioners, whatever, that are not Republicans, that constantly say, how can you be part of this party because they're racist? And we have to defend that. Now Charlie gives them something to point to.
Well, and all of the people who are saying,
we told you, and everybody thinks like that. They're all like that. He's just saying it out loud, and we have to try to dispel that racist narrative. It's hard enough as it is. Charlie's making it even worse.
So I've actually seen videos of Darrell Scott calling out racism in the Republican Party, so I empathize with him on that. Another reason I sometimes find myself empathizing with Black conservatives is because I used to consider myself one as well. I grew up in an all-Black community in New Orleans, Louisiana. And in the 8th grade, I moved to a very white, affluent, conservative community in California. During that time, I considered myself a Black conservative, mainly because I fell for a lot of the lies and talking points fed to people by conservatives about liberals. For instance, one thing you're told is that liberals have no morals because they're non-religious and they don't believe in God. Obviously, that's not true. As we know, you can find liberals in every religion. We also know that you don't have to be religious in order to have morals.
No.
As someone who grew up in the church and who doesn't really have a religious belief any longer, I'm still a moral person. My wife is a moral person. Our children are moral. Our family is held in a high regard because we're moral and respectful, and we have raised respectful, moral, intelligent, successful daughters. Another lie and talking point is that liberals aren't fiscally conservative. Liberals want everyone to be taxed a bunch so that all of our money can be given to people on welfare who are all gaming the system, living off the hog, and rubbing it in our faces. So one of the reasons I consider myself a Black conservative is because I run my own budget fiscally conservative. So it made sense to me until I started really looking into and studying what it meant to Republicans to be fiscally conservative. And what I found is that to them, fiscal conservatism means denigrating poor and marginalized communities, so much so that middle-class people looked down on them and wanted to take away their social programs because they were fooled into believing that none of them needed it or deserved it and that they were all abusing it. My idea of fiscal conservatism was that you looked at a budget, and sometimes you did have to make some tough cuts, but you should also tax millionaires and billionaires and close their tax loopholes so that you could raise revenue so that you don't have to turn your back on poor and marginalized communities. That is exactly what liberals and progressives want to do. Lastly, I realized that in order to be a Black conservative, you had to be okay with racist conservatives using you as an example when they were denigrating the Black community. Like, anytime someone brings up history or talks about issues in the community because of history or circumstances, as a Black conservative, you were the one they pointed to in order to say, well, if he's doing it, why can't you? You also had to be okay with putting up with their subtle racism. So because of those three things and their hate and their bigotry, I knew I didn't want to be a Black Republican conservative. One of the other issues I have with Daryl Scott is that he says now they get to point at Charlie Kirk. Like when he goes into the Black community and he has to defend racism in the Republican Party, now they get to point at Charlie Kirk. As if this is something new.
Right.
This is not new. We've been talking for years about racism in the Republican Party, racism that rose even more when the MAGA movement started. This is nothing new. My question to you is that if you're always having to defend racism against your own people that's in your party, why are you in that party? Like, you can be a liberal or a Democrat or a progressive and be fiscally conservative. You can be religious. You can have morals, and you'll never have to defend racism. Like, if a liberal were racist, I'd call him out on it. If a Democrat were racist, I'd call him out on it. If a progressive were racist, I would call them out on it. So why are you in the Republican Party when you said it yourself? Every single time you are in the Black community, you have to defend racism in the Republican Party.
And you don't have
So why are you still there?
Because deep inside,
Love this video?
So deep inside, I'll say it. Deep inside, you are racist. If you are feeling that you have to defend racism all the time, like you just have to make it a point to defend the like how this coach said, Coach D, if I read his name correctly. If you having to defend yourself like that, why are you a part of that group? Because deep down inside, you have been indoctrinated and you have accepted that. That's a part of your indoctrination. He laid it all out. Very simple. Very, very simple. If you want to join this club, these are our rules. And rules are A, B, C, D. And that's it. We're not hiding this any longer. Coach D brought that out too. Racism has always been here. It's a part of the very fabric of the development of this country. It's interwoven into everything that we do. Unfortunately. And the only difference now is that due to the exposure, due to technology and everything, we were able to bring it somewhat under subjection for just a little while. For just a little while. But since Trump has stepped on the scene, it's no shame in the game. So what they say is what they say. How they believe is how they believe. And as a Black man, I can never really wrap my head around anybody that is of my culture, that's of my melanin, backing up anything that is MAGA or mega, however you want to say it. Make attorneys get attorneys. I like the way my guy said off this other platform I watch. But honestly, guys, it's one thing for the Black community to be split between Democrat and Republican. Okay. But MAGA in itself, that's a whole different animal. That's a whole different animal. And when it comes down to voting, it basically just boils down to two choices. You're either with this extreme way of thinking and you want for this country to go backwards, or you are in the now and you want for this country to go forward. Now, you may not agree with everything that progressives and Democrats are putting on the table. But just like when you are at a gathering and people bring dishes and stuff and they lay it all out on the table, you don't necessarily have to eat everything, but you can eat what that agrees with you. And you can still have a good time and enjoy the company. And in a sense, that's the way I approach my voting. I approach my voting the same way. It is more beneficial for me to vote Democrat than it is for me to vote Republican. My options are better. My choices are better. Does that mean I agree with everything? Not necessarily. But I have daughters. Yes, I am a Christian man. Yes, I believe in the Bible. And I believe everything that the Bible says and everything, but I know that the rest of this world has the freedom not to believe like me. And that's the problem with the quote unquote conservatives, Republican side, because they are trying to say, well, if you don't believe like me, you can't force people to do anything they don't want to do. And just because they may not believe like you doesn't mean that they are not people of moral standing, good moral standing. And that I agree with this coach. But anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I know it's been a while since we've done this. So whatever you guys want to how you guys view this, just let me know. And we'll get back with you in the comments. And I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.